Hey you, and welcome to lesson 9. Today we will talk about the past perfect. We'll explain when to use a past perfect, how to use it, how to form it, how to make questions and negatives. We will also talk about conjunctions and feelings, negative feelings and positive feelings. Finally, we will take an idiom and don't skip the quiz. So let's get to it. Hello, welcome to lesson 9. Today we are going to talk about the past perfect. Now I know a lot of you are confused about the past perfect. To be honest, any tense that has the word perfect after it scares a lot of the students. But there is nothing to be afraid of. It's very basic and very simple. The idea of the past perfect is two things happen in the past. One of them happened before the other one. Okay, so let's take a look at the structure of the sentence. We have a subject, had, plus the verb in the participle form. The auxiliary verb have is conjugated in the past, had. Have and has are for the present perfect, had is for the past perfect. Now, let's take a look at some sentences in the past perfect. I had finished my work. This is a positive sentence, and negative sentence is I had not finished my work. Question format, had you arrived or had you not arrived? Had they eaten? Had they not eaten? Now let's look at the timeline right here. We have two things happening in the past. So we have action number 1 and we have action number 2. Action number 1 happened before action number 2. So the first action takes the past perfect. The second action takes the past simple. This is how we differentiate. So basically the past perfect is just a tool to tell us which one happened first and which one happened second. It's just to put things in perspective in order of the time those things happened. So let's take a look at some sentences. I had never seen such a beautiful beach before I went to Kauai. Okay, it means never in my life have I seen a beautiful beach until I went to Kauai. I didn't have any money because I had lost my wallet. Again, see, I had lost my wallet is a past perfect, which happened first. I lost my wallet, and the result of losing my wallet is I don't have any money. So I did not have any money, past simple, because I had lost my wallet, past perfect. Tony knew Istanbul so well because he had visited the city several times. So again, Tony knew Istanbul. This is past simple. Happened because this was the result because he had visited many times in the past, or he had visited 3 times. So past perfect shows that he had visited before, and then as the result of that, he knew the place. Had Susan ever studied Thai before? Has Susan ever studied Thai before she moved to Thailand? Okay, so here we're asking, had Susan ever studied Thai before the past perfect she moved to Thailand? Same thing. Two things in the past. Susan is in Thailand. She visited Thailand and she spoke Thai. But which one happened first? I want to know. So had she learned Thai before she went to Thailand? She only understood the movie because she had read the book. So which one happened first? Yes, you guessed it. She read the book first. That's why the past perfect went with the book. That's why she understood the movie, because she had read the book. Christine had never been to an opera before last night. So last night, she had never been in her life to an opera until last night. Okay, so second use for the past perfect is if something has been happening in a while, duration, something happened for a while before something else happened in the past. This is with non-continuous verb. Remember we talked about non-continuous verb. We call them stative verbs. Those are the verbs that don't normally take ing form. Okay, so as you can see here in the timeline, something started here and continued all the way to here, and then the other action happened here at the end of the duration. We had that car for 10 years before it broke down. It means we had it for a period of 10 years, and then at the end it broke down. By the time Alex finished his studies, he had been in London for over 8 years. So the duration is 8 years, and by the time those 8 years were done, he had finished his studies. They felt bad about selling the house because they had owned it for more than 40 years. So the duration here is 40 years. They've owned the house for 40 years. And then at the end of that period, the action happened and they sold the house. Let's take one more example. They felt bad about, here. Although the buff use in the past perfect is normally limited to non-continuous verbs and non-continuous uses of mixed verbs, the word live, work, teach, and study are sometimes used in this way, even though they are not non-continuous verbs. So the verbs work, study, teach, those are regular action verbs. They come in the ing form, but we can also use them in the case of the past perfect at the end of the duration period. Now, let's take a look at negative sentences with the past perfect. Basically, we just add not after the auxiliary, just like it is with all the other tenses. So I had not left, or we can use the abbreviation hadn't. Had not becomes hadn't. You hadn't left, or she hadn't left. Questions in the past perfect form is just like the other tenses. We start with the auxiliary, followed by the subject, then the verb. Had I seen, had you seen, had she seen, and so on. If we have a WH question, why, what, where, when, the WH question goes before the auxiliary. So it becomes how bad she washed, how had she washed the clothes before the light went off? Or why had Troy gone to America? So we start with the WH question, followed by auxiliary, followed by the subject, then the verb. So now let's talk about joining sentences. This is very important. When we join sentences or we connect them, we have tools. Those are called conjunctions. We have different types of conjunctions. Today we'll talk about the basic ones. So which words connect phrases? Whoops, wrong tool. Let me just fix this real quick. All right. Words that connect phrases, clauses, or sentences. Okay? So those are called conjunction. The first and most basic conjunction is and. And it means in addition to, or to add to that. He is 10 and she is 12. My mom and dad are teachers. Tim usually practices the piano and plays football at the weekend. So basically we connect two sentences or two clauses by joining them with the conjunction and. But is also a conjunction. However, despite this, that's what it means. It means however or despite this or although, right? So but is used to connect two opposite sentences or ideas. Let's take a look. I love ice cream, but he loves apples. It's sunny and hot, but I like it. She's 40 years old, but she looks much younger. Or is another tool, another conjunction. Or it means it's used to express choice. Or do you like playing football or badminton? Would you like tea or juice? Who's taller, Michael or Tom? Okay, so let's take a look at more conjunctions. Here we have after and before. So after and before are just tools to indicate the sequence of events. So we have an action, we use before to indicate what happened before this action took place, and we use after to show which happened after this action took place, right? So let's take a look at some sentences. After he told me the story, he had left my house. So the action was a storytelling. After the action was completed, after he told me the story, he left my house. Before we start dinner, I'd like to say something. Now here, the action was having dinner, and what happened first was he wants to talk before the dinner. So it's basically a tool to show which one happened before the action and which one happened after the action. Now we have two more conjunctions. People get them confused. They get them confused with each other, and those are when and while. While basically means during. So you have an action. So consider this an action. Okay, this is an action. Let me rewrite that. So, action. While it's during an action was taking place. So this is while is during the action was taking place. Normally, the thing that happened, okay, the action that was taking place takes the past continuous, and then the action that happened while that action was happening takes the past simple. Let's take a look at some examples. While I was making birthday cake, so the action here, this one, the action here, I was making a birthday cake. While I was doing that, a bee flew in the kitchen through the open window. So while the action was taking place and I was, baking a birthday cake, a bee flew in. The past continuous goes to the action that was happening, and the past simple goes to the other action that interrupted it. We also studied this in the past continuous. Okay, now let's take a look at when. When, it basically means immediately after. When, it means, so this is the action, and when is, so this is while, and when is basically here. When. It means immediately after the action happened, something else happened. So let's take a look at some examples. When the doorbell rang, I was sleeping. So the doorbell rang, I was sleeping, and then when the doorbell rang, I was sleeping, then I woke up because the doorbell rang. So this happened immediately after the action. John was playing the guitar when Linda came in. So John was playing the guitar, Linda came in. Okay, so immediately after. When it's used with the simple past and the past continuous, or it's used or we can use the past continuous, then when, then the simple past. Like when John was playing the guitar when Linda came in. So you have past continuous, then when, then the past simple. Or you can have the past simple following when, then the past continuous. Like the first action, when the doorbell rang, I was sleeping. Or you can say, when I finished studying, I had a coffee. When I finished studying, I had a coffee. Here in this case, a past continuous and the past simple. Past simple to shows what happened right after the action was completed. All right, now let's see. Another conjunction, and this means so. So here means as a result of, or for that reason. Where is my high? Okay, right here. So it means to link between a cause and a result. To link between a cause and a result. So to indicate what happened as a result of that reason. Let's take a look. He's hungry, so he gets some food. He's hungry, so he gets some food. Notice here we use the present simple. The weather isn't very nice, so we don't go camping. The weather isn't very nice, so we went camping. So we don't go camping. So the result of us not going camping is the weather. He lost the keys, so he couldn't get into his room. So the reason why he didn't get into his room, or the reason he wasn't able to get into his room, is because he didn't have the keys. We can use this in the past simple. We can use it in the present simple, depending on the, on the context. Now, because is used to give reason. Normally, because is a standard answer for any question that starts with why. We can use it in sentences without a question, just to give a reason. She doesn't go to school because she's sick. Again, here we use the present simple. Because it rains, I wear a raincoat, or we can use it in the past. Kay was happy because she won the competition. So because is just to give a reason. So is to give a reason of an action. So we have something happen, and as the result of that, another thing happens, so we use so. Although it belongs to a family, although is a contrast. You have although, in spite of, despite, though. Those are all same family, basically mean the same thing, and that is to show a contrast in the sentence. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples. Although the weather is bad, I love London. So, although the weather is bad, I mean despite of, or even though the weather is bad, I still like London, or I still love London, though the weather is not nice. I love London, although the weather is bad. So, although can come in the beginning of the sentence, or it come in the middle of the sentence, it's fine. Although I was broke, I was happy. I was broke, I was happy, although I was broke. So what's broke? Broke means, if you're describing a person as broke, it means he doesn't have a lot of money, or he doesn't make a lot of money. So you can say, I was happy, although I was broke, or you can say, although I was broke, I was happy. So it's fine to use it at the beginning of the sentence, or in the middle of the sentence, or before the other sentence. As soon as to show that something happened immediately. I'll call you as soon as I arrive, or I'll text you as soon as I reach my destination. So it means immediately after action is completed, I'll do this. Kind of like when, but as soon as, it's got more dramatic effect. So you can say, I'll text you when I arrive. Same thing. It means I'll arrive, then I'll text you. Or you can say, I'll text you as soon as I arrive. It just have a more of a dramatic effect. They mean the same thing. Okay, now let's talk about feelings. Some feelings have a negative meaning, and some feelings have a positive meaning. So let's take a look. Angry, negative. Delighted, just another way of saying happy. Positive. Upset, negative. Jealous, negative. Scared, negative. Lonely, negative. Guilty, negative. Happy, positive. Tired, negative. Nervous, negative. Stress, negative. Homesick, negative. Proud, positive. Amazed, positive. Disappointed, negative. Horrified, negative. Pleased, another way of saying happy, positive. Disgusted, negative. Okay, let's talk about today's idiom. Today we have an idiom relating to time. It's called on your mark. On your mark, or we can say on the mark. On your mark or on the mark. What does that mean? If you are on the mark, it means very precise, very accurate, on the, on point, like exactly, you got it right. Okay, that means on the mark. If you say get set, on your mark, get set, This is for running. Before you start a running race, you hear the before they blow the whistle or fire the gun, they say, "On your mark, get set, go," and that's when the race starts. But just on the mark on its own, it means to be accurate or precise. All right, let's take a look at some examples. Where is the, oh, okay, there it is. Runners, please get ready. On your mark, get set, go. This is just the command before a race. There are many opinions about how to deal with shortage of water, but I think only Jeff is on the mark. Jeff is the only one that got it right, or the only one that's precise or accurate about, in his opinion. The predictions of Bob about Emma was definitely on the mark. It means he was right on the money. He was 100% accurate and precise. My heart started pounding, and then the instructor yelled, "On your mark." We were ready to run. This is again for a race. Dear students, let's see who completes the essay writing test in the least amount of time. Be on your mark, get set, and start. Okay, so before any race, we can use this phrase. On your mark, get set, go, or on your mark, get set, start. But we can use on the mark on its own to show that someone is accurate or someone is very precise or 100% right. Okay, so that will do it for today. Don't forget the quiz, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a good one.